Hey everybody, Nick here, and today there's this exists. This is the Schrade Side-opening large knife. The SCHSA 2DB. We all know what the DB is for here. Look, I tried very, very hard to write a full review of this knife, but honestly, it just wasn't happening because at some level, but I do want to thank very much my buddies Frankie and Bird for sending this very confusing knife along. And first up, let's do a little size comparison here. Well, actually, first off, I got to show you how this thing opens. So it's got this hole in the back here, which is a little conspicuous, a little bit strange. The way that you open this knife is you take your index finger, or maybe another finger if you're feeling lucky or adventurous, and you put it into the hole there, and then just give it a little bit of a push. The blade comes flying out using an assist. This is an assisted knife that is flying out the side. I mean, seriously, watch the assist. I'm going to push, and then it flies the rest of the way open. That point, then the blade is roughly locked out here. And, I mean, there's a little bit of vertical play, not too much, though. And, everything is otherwise roughly solid. And then there's this little thing on the top here. And once you overcome the considerable lock stick, you can then pull the blade back into position. The other little safety feature that you've got here is this little guy, which when you push it down, puts this little post in the way of the blade so it can't come the rest of the way open. So pop that in, not go anywhere, open it up, knife can deploy with your finger right nicely in there. So that makes this I guess you could call this a knuck in the everyday carry community, because apparently that's a thing there too. So, yeah, that's how this thing works. A little size comparison here. Here it is against the Spyderco Delica, the Ontario Rat #1. And so you can see in terms of blade length, this is a non-trivial blade length. But in terms of handle length is really where this excels. Because look at the freaking blade-to-handle ratio on this guy. That's a thing. And then here it is next to another completely ridiculous knife. This is the Cold Steel Voyager XL. You can see here they've borrowed the same blade shape, basically, except a little more of a clip or clippy rather than upswept tip. Either way, holy crap. This knife just defies explanation. Because every time I sat down to write a review, it came out vaguely cruel. It was like, but I have to respect the uniqueness here. That's what came into the good column here, is that this is something that nobody else has done. That's not necessarily a great thing, because oftentimes there's a reason nobody else has done something, but this is absolutely the first knife I've ever seen that deploys the blade out from the side like that, in that way, using a spring assist. There's like a couple of other ones. I think Cricket's got one with a snap lock, but this is its own little thing. And they have done some things to attempt to make this a carryable pocket knife. For instance, it's done in such a way that, especially with this safety, it can be carried nicely in the pocket. That's good, at least, although the clip is resting on this super tight clip is resting on this super grabby surface there, which is not great. And then those are kind of that's the good here, is that there is a blade on this guy. I guess that's good. Sharpening choil. Oh, hey, sharpening choil. That's awesome. And this is a very unique little beast. On the bad side, look, you got a clip resting on terrible situation. You got lock stick like you wouldn't freaking believe. The blade steel on this is not listed, which is never a good sign. And given that this is a $16 knife with a really fancy mechanism, one can just assume that this is that we're not going to be getting some super high-end. This is probably not M390 here. Then, on top of all of that, the mechanism itself, although it works reliably, it's very easy to get the pop out there. Ultimately, you're then left holding this knife, and at least for my relatively small hands, this is like super unergonomic, because you've got a bunch of freaking handle here, but then you've got relatively little to grab onto. So, like, the entire inner line, it turns out to be a hot spot, as does this guy, as does freaking every other part of this knife. This is just like one gigantic hot spot when you're actually holding it. Then you've got the awkwardness of the fact that you've got this little tiny blade in this huge handle, and the blade is not even like at the very bottom edge or anything like that. And so actually doing much in the way of cutting with this knife is very, very strange. Not only because of this weird recurve and whatnot, but because it just, nothing's where you expect it. The balance of this knife is, actually, let's see here. Where the heck does this thing balance? It's a little bit further back than one might like, but part of that is just because this material here is something else. I mean, they've got a bit of an H.R. Geiger thing going on, but, there we go. I just, guys... Yeah, so that's my review of the, that's the Schrade SCH82DB. There's an S in there someplace. This is a knife. This is a thing that has occurred. This happened. And Schrade did it. And, bless their hearts. Hope this has been interesting to you. And have yourselves an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. Bye now.